Hi, it's me. Number 4. Hidden giants. Between 3.5 million and 12,000 years ago, Earth was populated by giants. I'm not talking about people who are unusually tall or about mythological creatures from folklore. I'm referring to elephants that were almost twice the size of modern African elephants. These prehistoric giants roamed across 3 continents. Their remains have been found in Africa, Europe, and Asia. And because they were so huge, they left behind plenty of evidence in the form of footprints, which scientists have been able to study in detail. Elephants have been walking the earth for around 55 million years. That's 10 million years longer than humans have been around. And during this time, they've evolved into 2 main species, the African elephant and the Asian elephant. But these 2 species are actually quite different from one another, and they also look very different. For example, African elephants have larger ears and tusks than Asian elephants, and their backs are more rounded. Their skulls are also shaped differently. However, despite these differences, they can still breed with each other. And this is exactly what happened in prehistoric times when the 2 species interbred and created hybrids. This is why some of the giant skeletons found were neither fully Asian nor fully African, but rather a mix of both. Scientists say that elephants evolved from a common ancestor that lived in Africa between 55 and 40 million years ago. Over millions of years, elephants migrated to different parts of the world. At first, they only existed in Africa, but later they spread out into Europe and Asia. Between 3.5 million and 12,000 years ago, many large mammals roamed the earth, including giant deer, wild dogs, saber-toothed cats, and giant beavers. But the largest of them all were the elephants. They grew to unbelievable sizes and weighed around 13 tons, which is double the weight of today's African elephants. For many years, scientists believed that these giant elephants went extinct 12,000 years ago at the end of the last ice age. But in 2019, a new study suggested something different. The study says that these elephants went extinct much earlier, around 35,000 years ago. The researchers reached this conclusion after analyzing the bones of an elephant calf that was discovered in the Dominican Republic. The elephant's bones contained microscopic grooves left behind by the chewing of grass. By studying these grooves, scientists were able to determine what the elephant ate and how it digested its food. Scientists now believe that the prehistoric elephant had a digestive system similar to that of today's African elephant. This suggests that it was not an entirely new species, but rather the ancestor of today's African elephants. But if the giant elephant went extinct 35,000 years ago, where did the ancestors of today's African elephants come from? Scientists aren't sure yet, but they're hoping to find more evidence soon. Number 3. The rise of Homo sapiens. As I mentioned, humans have only been around for about 300,000 years, but our earliest ancestors appeared on Earth around 6 million years ago. These ancestors were apes who lived in Africa. Over millions of years, they gradually changed and evolved, eventually becoming the first human. But there's a lot we don't know about this process. For most of history, we didn't even know that it had taken place. And even today, there are still many unanswered questions. In fact, we don't know exactly when the first human appeared or what it looked like. But we do know that our species once shared the Earth with other types of humans. Some of these humans were Neanderthals, who lived in Europe and Asia. Others were Denisovans, who lived in Asia. Humans, Neanderthals, and Denisovans interbred with one another, which means that we share some of our DNA with these ancient humans. Today, most of us carry around 4% Neanderthal DNA and 6% Denisovan DNA. 30,000 years ago, humans were making cave paintings, hunting mammoths, and living in small tribes. They had not yet invented agriculture, so they were constantly on the move. They used spears to hunt animals, and they lived in caves or made simple shelters out of rocks and wood. 25,000 years ago, the last ice age began. This led to the extinction of many large mammals, including woolly mammoths, mastodons, and saber-toothed cats. But humans were able to adapt to the changing climate, and they survived. 12,000 years ago, the Ice Age ended and the Earth began to warm up. This led to the melting of glaciers and rising sea levels. As the glaciers melted, they also released large amounts of fresh water into the oceans. This caused the salt content of the ocean water to decrease, which may have affected ocean currents and weather patterns around the world. Rising sea levels also caused many coastal areas to become underwater. This is thought to have led to the extinction of several marine animals, including some species of whales and dolphins. 8,000 years ago, humans began to domesticate animals and grow crops. This led to the development of villages and eventually cities. Humans also invented new tools and weapons, including the plow and the chariot. 5,000 years ago, humans developed metal tools and weapons. This led to the conquest of new lands and the subjugation of other peoples. Many ancient empires rose and fell during this time period, including the Akkadian Empire, the Babylonian Empire, and the Assyrian Empire. 3,000 years ago, humans invented writing. This allowed them to keep records of important events and pass on their knowledge to future generations. It also allowed them to communicate with each other over long distances. 2,000 years ago, humans built great works of art and architecture, including the pyramids of Giza and the Colossus of Rhodes. They also developed advanced systems of government and law. Today, humans are the dominant species on Earth. We have spread to every part of the world, and we have developed highly advanced technologies. But despite our technological advances, we are still vulnerable to natural disasters and climate change. Only time will tell what the future holds for humans. Thanks for watching. When do you think humans will reach the next level of evolution? Let me know in the comments below. See you next time.